From Nutrien Ag Solutions, this is Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, July 25th, 2022. We'll start off looking at temperatures across the region, generally in the low to middle teens. We've actually got warmer temperatures here from southern Alberta. We'll call it into portions of southern and central Saskatchewan. Cooler temperatures going to be coming in here, though, early week on the backside of a storm system that you can kind of see as we animate the visible satellite loop here. The sun coming up on Monday morning. Here's the big area of low pressure that kind of controlled our weather across the prairie over the past week. We've got a frontal boundary extending back from that across portions of the central United States. And then we've got a little disturbance, much smaller disturbance, kind of making its way through here, kind of attached to a system off to the north. You can kind of see the swirl there. We've got a frontal boundary extending south from there, and then just another little system kind of coming in on the backside here, bringing some showers into the region, kind of along the Alberta-Saskatchewan border here at, we'll call it 8:30 here this morning. So if you're watching this a little bit later in the day on Monday, take an updated look at the radar. But we'll expect to see this area of showers and storms continue to slowly make its way off to the east-southeast over the next 24 hours, bringing highly variable precipitation totals to the rest of central and southern Saskatchewan into southern Manitoba. Maybe a few isolated strong storms here as well, most likely across extreme southwestern Alberta. But then also a very low risk for maybe a stray strong storm here, mostly expecting some rain, a few embedded storms, and then again, it's just a very low likelihood of a stronger storm producing some gustier winds, maybe some small hail over the next 24 to 36 hours. So here's the high-resolution NAM model. This will take us through Thursday afternoon. We'll go ahead and bring it back here to Monday. Again, that area of showers and storms kind of along the Alberta-Saskatchewan border. As we head through midday today, we'll see that continue to move pretty quickly off to the east. So this is your Monday. This takes us to 7 p.m., here 10 p.m., midnight. You can see the showers and storms just slowly making their way through. And it's again, as we get toward the afternoon into the evening hours, that we could potentially see those showers and storms, reaching strong levels, again, on an isolated basis. Not expecting a big severe weather event here as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours. Could see some gusty winds. Not really talking about, real windy, not excessively windy or anything like that, but, breezy out of the northwest, 25 to 35 kilometers per hour here on the backside of that frontal boundary tomorrow. So here's the front here as we get to 7 p.m. tonight. You can see the warmer air coming up on the leading edge here, the warm air advection, and then it's the northwesterly winds bringing in the cooler temperatures, and those are the ones that could become gusty as we get into really Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday evening is when those winds will be the strongest across primarily central and southern Saskatchewan, maybe into eastern and southern Manitoba as we get into the evening hours. As you look at your total precipitation forecast between now and midday Thursday, again, all of this falling over the next 24 hours. Maybe a couple pockets of heavier rain, kind of, near Highway 1 is where I think that would be most likely over the next 24 hours. And then those showers and storms may be becoming a little bit more widespread this evening into the overnight tonight across central and southern Manitoba. As we look at the European model, the precipitation forecast all the way through the coming weekend. So this takes us through the rest of July. Not looking at much, added on after we get past the next 24 to 36 hours, we'll call it. Pretty dry midweek into the end of the week. As we get into the weekend, early next week, we'll start to bring those showers and storms back in on an, isolated to widely scattered basis. But this week will be more dry than wet. More locations here are going to be dry as we head through mid to late week here with not much in the way of precipitation after we get through the next 24 hours or so. And a lot of that, we can look at the jet stream pattern. We can kind of figure that out. As we get started here, this flow coming out of the northwest to the southeast, this is a pattern change compared to what we've seen through much of the summer, June into the first half of July. Really dominated by a big trough across this region. So we had storm systems coming around the base of that trough, lifting into the prairie, giving us very active conditions. This is a very different pattern now with high pressure across that same area over the Pacific. So we're getting northwest flow. This brings in shots of cooler and drier air, which we're experiencing here over the last few days and then over the next couple. And then these systems kind of coming out of the northwest, they don't really tap into the Gulf of Mexico quite as efficiently. They're not really producing widespread areas of showers and storms. They're bringing these fronts that kick off isolated to widely scattered showers and storms. And this is the pattern as we head through the rest of the week. We don't really see this break down until we get to maybe the weekend into next week. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's Monday, getting into Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, this is very dry across this region. We're seeing northwest flow, but not only that, we're seeing a little ridging kind of nudging into western Canada here. So those temperatures will climb as we get into late week, into the weekend, especially across British Columbia and Alberta, but still we'll see the warm up across Saskatchewan and Manitoba as well. But I think maybe even a couple of days of excessive heat across British Columbia into Alberta late week. And then we start to see the pattern change. You're starting to see an organized branch of the jet stream here again across the Pacific. And then we'll start to kind of break down the ridge that's been parked over the Pacific Ocean here, right off the Pacific coast, and start to maybe bring in some more troughiness. So here we've started to kind of reverse that flow again, bring it in out of the west-southwest. This could set the table then for a more active first week of August. So here you go, your precipitation forecast through the rest of the week. Let me go ahead and pause it. We'll bring it back. Here's your area of low pressure here Monday morning, that front extending back to the southwest with showers and storms along it, becoming maybe more numerous as they get into central and southern Alberta late tonight. This would be midnight here. So moving from Alberta, Saskatchewan border here Monday morning, across central and southern Saskatchewan midday, probably very hit or miss across central and southern Saskatchewan. And then as we get into the overnight hours, becoming a little more numerous across central and southern Manitoba. And then we get a quiet period here, mid to late week. Maybe some showers coming around the backside here in Manitoba on Wednesday. But this is when we start to see ridging pushing in from the west. So we're dry across Alberta and Saskatchewan. And then that dryness expands into Manitoba here late week as well. So here we go. This is after we get those showers here across Manitoba, maybe on Wednesday. We're dry Thursday, dry Friday. Dry into Saturday, and then it's really Saturday into early next week. We'll start to bring those isolated, scattered storms back in. So several days of drier conditions. The probability of picking up half an inch or more of precipitation between now and Sunday, so the last week of July. Again, a lot of this right here, this falls over the next 12 hours. A lot of this right here, this falls, tonight into Wednesday morning with a lot of dryness as we go through mid to late week. And then we start to see that pattern change. This is the ensemble model. We'll look a little bit deeper now into next week. And there you see that pattern kind of revert back to what we saw, at least a little closer to what we saw through June and early July. And that is going to set the stage for a more active pattern across the prairie in the first week of August after a drier last week of July. So here you go. We're looking at the, I made a mistake here and I pasted the same thing twice. So you go ahead and take my word for it. We've kind of covered in depth the next week, a little bit on the drier side here across the prairie. Pockets of wetter conditions over the next 24 hours, but drier mid to late week. And then as we get into next week, returning to maybe average or slightly wetter than average conditions for the first week of August. Those temperatures, again, a shot of cooler air in the east over the next 24 hours. Warmth begins to expand from the west mid to late week. You can see that here, your next 10 days in Calgary, warming up to a high of 30 on Friday. Maybe a stretch of excessively warm days here late week into the weekend. Same picture here in Edmonton. Regina, a little delayed, but there's the excessive warmth here. Highs getting back toward 30 degrees late week into early week. During the weekend into early next week. Same thing here in Saskatoon. And then Winnipeg, here's that cool down we've been talking about. High temperatures right around 20 degrees in the lower 20s Wednesday and Thursday. Warming back up to around 30 by the time we get into the weekend.